Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, is the black sheep of Crystal Lake. One of the most hated entries in the franchise, and it's not because of the acting, not because of the kills, not even because of the sleaze. It's because of one man, Roy freaking Burns. But here's the thing, if this movie didn't have the Roy twist, most fans wouldn't hate it at all. And let's talk about why. Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, actually killed Jason. They sold it as the end of the line, and it worked. Audiences loved it. But Paramount wasn't walking away from a cash cow. This series, it made them way too much money. So in 1985, they released Part 5, A New Beginning. No Jason, no rules, just a lot of sleaze. And here's the thing that no one talks about. Part 5 works as a slasher. Creepy halfway house, check. Absurd characters, absolutely check.
Would you shut the fuck up?
The kills, they're brutal, they're frequent, and they're creative. There's even a chainsaw fight. Yeah, that happens. Let's talk numbers. Part 5 has 22 kills. That was the most in the franchise at the time. And Roy, our mystery killer, he gets creative. We got garden shears, cleavers, road flares. This man came prepared. Now, yeah, the movie is sleazy. There's more nudity than in any other Friday. There's more sex. There's more softcore vibes. But that wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate choice. The director was Danny Steinman, a porn director. Exploitation was the style. And while we're talking about it, let's give a shout out to Debbie Sue Voorhees. And yes, that's her real name. She became a scream queen from this movie and later went on to direct her own horror film, 13 Fanboy, about obsessive slasher fans. And let's not forget about her scene. You know the one. She's an absolute legend. Part 5 doesn't just give us Roy, it gives us weirdos, and we love that. Ethel and Junior, they're completely unhinged cartoon rednecks. And Ethel's awesome, okay? Demon singing in the outhouse right before he gets killed.
Ooh baby, ooh baby, ooh baby, ooh baby.
Violet is a dancing goth queen. And Reggie the Reckless. His scream is just fantastic. He's a lovable character and you really want to see him live. You don't want to see him get murdered. And John Shepard's Tommy, silent, brooding, trauma-ridden. He might not have been Corey Feldman, but we get to see his PTSD. Remember, as a child, he stood toe-to-toe with Jason and did what others couldn't. He killed him. Not only that, he killed the shit out of him. We don't get to see the aftermath of a survivor very often in the series. The Tommy Jarvis arc is one of the best in this franchise. And then we get to the twist. It's not Jason, it's Roy Burns, a paramedic. And people lost it. They hated that the killer wasn't Jason. They felt tricked. But let's just kind of pause for a second. Roy has something that Jason never actually had. Motivation. His son Joey was murdered at the halfway house, right? And then Roy had to come in and clean it up. So he snaps. He puts on the mask and he goes full slasher. And honestly, that's a pretty solid horror villain origin. It's no different than Pamela Voorhees' origin in the original. This film corrected what people complained about in that first film. They complained that you didn't see Pamela until she shows up at the very end of the movie, just basically out of nowhere. Here, Roy pops up a few times and you know something is up with him. He basically tells you when he stares all crazily into that camera. It's just one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't moments. But I don't think audiences were necessarily mad because the twist was bad. They were mad because they were misled. The trailers showed the Jason mask. The poster said the terror continues. No one warned us it wasn't Jason. So when it turned out to be Roy, people checked out. But the marketing lied. Roy didn't. In fact, the movie gave it away. In Tommy's visions, he sees Jason, the red chevrons, the axe mark, it's all there. And it's completely different than Roy's mask with the blue chevrons. It's so obvious. But here's the kicker. Despite the backlash, Friday the 13th Part 5 was a financial success. On a budget of $2.2 million, the box office, it did over $21 million. That's nearly 10 times the return. You know, it might not have been the $32 million of Part 4, but audiences still showed up. And hate it or not, Roy made money. And you know what? Fake outs aren't new, right? Halloween 3, it didn't have Michael Myers in it. Scream 3, it had a twist. We've seen subversions before, and oftentimes they are better in hindsight. In fact, Halloween 3 is now considered probably one of the best in the franchise. Part 5 is no different. It took a swing, people just weren't ready. Look, it's not perfect. At the end of the day, it's still a low-budget horror movie with the same problems that most of this series has. But Friday the 13th Part 5 is a wild, gutsy, unapologetic slasher. And if you drop your expectations a little bit, it absolutely holds up. Roy Burns didn't ruin this franchise. He just wore the wrong mask. And let's just talk about it for a second. Part 5 is the last in the series that has that classic Friday the 13th feel. You know, this was before he turned into a zombie, before he went to space, before he fought Freddy, before he fought a telekinetic girl, all that crazy shit, right? This was the last time that it was Jason in the woods killing people. It still has the feel of those first 4 that we would never get again. So what do you think? Does Roy deserve a second chance? Drop a comment below and let me know. And if you're on Team Roy, give me a like and a subscribe, because I've got plenty more horror hot takes.
I'm gonna chop you into itty bitty little pieces, my friend. Just like they done to that pig-o over there at that fucking crazy farm. Ha!